Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. It's where do we start? Where do we start? So, modern women in teaching are a danger to children. We're on the channel Pearl, 2 million subscribers. So, bit of a weird in. Well, it's not a weird in. It's something that when I was young, I don't think it was really a problem, to be honest. But I've seen a lot of this in modern times, and it's women teachers sleeping with students, male students, underage. Now, the amount of this that goes on, particularly in America, is unreal. Like, it's unreal. There's multiple cases in this video. I've seen multiple cases many times before, and again, it's kind of like it shows the state of society in many ways, like the fall in morals, and people talk about paedophilia and men being paedophiles, um, and it's kind of the big topic of it all. Men, isn't it? Jimmy Savile, Epstein. It's kind of predominantly the men are the ones that are mentioned, high profile. It's more a thing that's frowned on men for, but women do it as well. Many cases here of women teachers sleeping with children, and yeah, it's something that's not really made a big deal of with women. But when I was young in the 80s, this didn't seem to be a problem, to be honest. Again, it kind of shows like the moral decline of the world in many ways. And again, the just women, like I say this jokingly, but women can't be trusted. The Bible's told you so. Do you know what I mean? And even this woman here, she makes some very good comments about women. Again, being a woman, she's in a better place to do so than I am. So yeah, we're talking like a moral decline again. Women sleeping with children. Basically the women are always teachers in positions of authority, and obviously that's frowned upon. Not only is it paedophilia, but you're in a position of authority, supposed to be looking after the children as a teacher. So it's massively frowned upon, to be honest, and it's still paedophilia, even though it's the other way around. And again, this woman comments some men would have loved to have been groomed when they were young by a sexy teacher. It's kind of a different crack for men in many ways. And when you're becoming a sexual age, you don't know. As one of the students says here, he didn't know he was being groomed. He wasn't aware of the word or what it was or anything at that age. Do you know what I mean? You're becoming at a sexual age, and you're starting to like women, sort of 13, 14, 15-year old, and you've got this attractive teacher who's well older than all the students coming on to you. And again, it's you would have to be in that position to know how it felt, sort of thing. But again, for men and a lot of these boys at the time, it's exciting, and they're into sex at that age, and it's the coming of age. So it's one of them. Like for the boy, it's again some of these, like the woman says here, it's not it's not really the same crack. It is still abuse, but boys at that age are starting to want to have sex. And again, it's kind of a different crack for men to women. And again, men have more. Again, not now. Again, but men had more sexual partners than women usually in history. And again, I don't know if women lose something with more sexual partners. Again, look at the state of the world and some of the women in it. No offense to women there, and not all women, but look around us. You look at this sort of EBT thing in America, and all the majority of the videos are women all gobbing off, saying they're going to rob the sport and all. Like, there's no, you know what I mean? They're not acting like women anymore. We've again, you've lost all this gender ideology as well, and blurring the lines. So, but men and women used to have different roles. You know what I mean? They're very different roles. And again, when I was young, um, all the teachers, women teachers, were real old women. Like again, when I think back to being a kid now, the women were all about 50 or 60. The teachers that I remember, and you're putting all these young girls in teaching positions. Again, a lot of these girls that get them for this can be young as well, in the 20s and in the 30s. Again, I've seen that in more modern times as well. A lot of teachers are younger now, and that didn't seem to be the case when I was young. All the women teachers were a lot older somehow. I don't know what was going on there, but there was no sort of young teachers when I was in the 80s when I went to school. And the women anyway, they were all fairly old. So, long story short, 6 minutes in, we've got a bit of a problem with women being paedophiles, especially teachers, and the amount of these cases is unreal, really. And yeah, just a fall of morals and decline in society. And again, a lot of the stuff she says about women is she's right as well, though. That's the beauty of it. She comes from a women. Like, women are more likely to do this than a man. She makes some very good points.
Welcome to my reaction series. On this channel, I believe all the things that women say about men, women actually are. Women always say that men are dogs, but women are the ones juggling multiple men. You know, women always say that men only want one thing, but women are the ones banging their personal trainers, musicians, and men with absolutely nothing to offer us. Now, another thing that women say about men is that men are pedophiles. If men are such pedophiles, why are women the ones that are sleeping with students?
Another baffling case of a female teacher preying on one of her male students. As you may have heard, this happens a lot, and perplexingly, it often involves these women blowing up their families. What makes this case interesting, though, is that we can actually see and hear some of what went down in the sentencing.
The married mother of 3 ran a...
Whoa. Holy crap. She has like a Giga Chad husband too. Look at her husband. Like, her husband's a wood, respectfully. But oh my gosh.
Program for at-risk youth at a prestigious all-boys Catholic school in Cincinnati.
All-boys Catholic school, thingy youth, and yeah, she's 3 children and husband, and went and slept with an underage person. Again, I mean, there's many cases throughout this video of this happening. It's not a one-off affair. I've seen loads of them in history, yeah, absolutely loads. And it's not made a big deal of as men paedophiles, to be honest. But it's very much a thing that's massively going on, and again, it seems to be much more prevalent now than it's ever been. So yeah, married, kids. I mean, not a bad looking woman, to be fair. Not a bad looking woman. Again, you're a young 15, 16-year-old lad coming of sexual age, and this attractive blonde woman's coming on to you. You wouldn't know what to do with it, to be honest. So as soon as, though, I never understand how they think they'll get away with it, though. That's the thing with these women. They think, I don't know what they think they'll get away with it. I mean, women can keep a secret. Everyone knows this. Women keep a secret. But men do not. Again, I heard a case not long back, and well, after the student had slept with the teacher and was still in the teacher's house, she was half naked on the sofa, and he sent a picture of her half naked on the sofa to his best mate, saying he'd just shagged the teacher. That's what men do. Like that's what men do. Men brag about shagging, women don't say a word. It's the ×3 rule. Whatever women tell you their sexual body count is, times it by 3, because they're all fucking liars. Is basically what men what men think, right? That's the rule, the ×3 rule. Whatever a woman tells you her body count is, times it by 3, because women are fucking liars. So yeah, when it comes to shagging as well, like women can keep their mouth fucking shut, no problem at all. Cheat on multiple people and never say a word to anybody at all. Men brag about shit. Men brag about shagging. I shagged her. I shagged you know what I mean? Especially if she's good looking. If you shag the teacher, then that's absolute bragtastic. You know what I mean? For a 15-year-old boy, I shagged the teacher. That's going around the classroom like I'll give you a fucking week before everybody, not even a week, before everybody in the fucking classroom knows, do you know what I mean? That's why these women are stupid. Because the thing like 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old boys aren't going to fucking brag about shagging the teacher, especially if she's semi-good looking as well, do you know what I mean? So the sex is a big thing when you're that age, when you're like, it's all about losing your virginity and who's first, and there's all this big competition and who gets to puberty, and like it's all like a bit of a competition for men in many ways. And yeah, losing your virginity, and you don't want to be last to lose your virginity, and it's like it is. It's like it was when I was young. It's a bit of like a competition in many ways, where it's not a competition. There isn't like a chart on the wall or anything, but everybody's kind of keeping score. Who's had a ride? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of what happens when you're a lad. So yeah, these women are all stupid because the chances of the young male not telling somebody eventually is pretty much zero, absolutely zero, and that's usually what happens. And it usually comes out, and these people are all getting prosecuted. Again, usually married with kids. Again, this is just one woman here. Let's move forward here. Here she's in court with her hand up there, embarrassed about her behaviour here, but it's too late. It's too late. 3 years in prison for having a sexual relationship with a student. So you might look good now, lass, but you're going down. You won't look like that in the morning. So yeah, there's a bit of an epidemic of this.
In prison on count 1, 3 years on count 5 to be served at the same time for an aggregate sentence of.
Women are pedophiles, and this is the look they give when they get 6 years in prison. That's not even that bad, considering, right? That's a pretty serious sentence. And women are like, what? How did this bitch?
3 years in prison.
And Emily Nutley seemed a bit surprised by that sentence. She was immediately placed in handcuffs and escorted out of the courtroom.
We seem to be seeing a new case like this pop up every week. And this case saw the teacher get pregnant from a 12-year-old. She's
Oh my God.
in prison for 25
She's smiling.
years. Listen, teachers, I promise you, no matter how boring your life is, sex with your students is not worth it.
Yeah, the more like bad the sex is, like men actually weigh the risks and rewards. I have a friend in London. He was going to be a music teacher at a high school, and a girl flirted with him that was underage, and he quit that day. He said, "Oh hell no." But women, it's like the more we're not supposed to have the sex, the more we want the sex. You ever tell a woman no for sex? What was her reaction? Crash out. That's why these conservatives like shame works on men. Shame does not work on women. The more you say, oh, you shouldn't do it, the more we want to do it. And that's why these conservative guys that come in and they say, oh, like, shame women stop doing this. I'm like, that's just going to make them want to whore more.
Continues for a tri-state teacher accused of having sex with 2 students. WLWT News 5's Karen Johnson is in court as the prosecution continues to make its case. Karen, what's happening today?
Well, first up, Lisa, we heard from the superintendent of Northwest Local Schools, and he told jurors he was first made aware of the allegations after a parent brought screenshots of text messages to the school.
Yeah, I mean, these teachers are always stupid enough to send like pictures and text messages to the students, and often the parents get out of it, and the parents bring it out, or the student goes on bragging to his mates, and word gets around, and it gets to other parents. But basically, the word pretty much always. I don't think there's any fucking women teachers that's ever got away with this, or very few. Because word gets around, you know what I mean? Word gets around, especially like, honest to God, young boys talk shit. Like that's what they do. They will definitely be telling all the mates. There's very few that wouldn't tell the mates. Do you know what I mean? And then their mates tell everybody else, and then everybody knows. It gets back to someone's parent. The parent rings their parent, and then before you know it, the teacher's been arrested. So I thought she made some very good points there as well about women and sex, and again, when men weigh up the options, and me personally, I massively do weigh up the options. But women seem to the more that they shouldn't have the sex, the more they want the sex, and I can see that in a lot of women as well, and that's why this is happening. Yeah, and women try and tell a woman no when she wants to have sex with you, and see what happens. And again, it's they kind of in a way rape you. But because you know each other and it's a woman and a man, you don't really say boo to a goose. Do you know what I mean? But it turn the other thing round, and the man would be getting done for rape. So just men just don't look at any of this in the same way, sort of thing. Again, it's a whole different kettle of fish for men than women. It really is. I feel like I don't really think a woman can rape a man, because a man has to be sexually aroused, i.e., he's got to have a hard on to have sex. Now, if you're not sexually aroused, then you can't be raped in many ways. But if you're sexually aroused, then you can't really be under a lot of threat, so to speak, or you wouldn't be getting a hard on because you'd be under threat. So, do you know what I mean? The fact that you're in like a sexual mind to have a hard on is, in a way, you're not kind of being raped, if everyone gets what I'm saying. So it's very, very different for men, I think, for that reason. Like we have an implement that needs stimulus to perform. So without the stimulus, it will not perform. So in order to be stimulated, we must be aroused in some way. So it's not in effect rape, because we're not in fear. If anybody gets that, oh, that's got my thing on it. Again, if a man didn't want to be raped, usually because they are the stronger of the two genders, you can easily fend most women off, unless the women's like 40 stone. You know what I mean? But in general. So it's kind of a different kettle of fish, but it's still abuse on the part of the woman. The child's underage. She's in a power of position. It's a slightly different kettle of fish, but it's still in effect abuse and rape and child abuse. So yeah, and there's a lot of women. Again, I agree with a lot of what she says about women being older and knowing women, knowing a lot of women. I mean, the only woman I trust, to be honest, me fucking mum. You know what I mean? The only woman I trust is me mum. So and even then, people's mums have fucked them over in time. My mum hasn't, but I mean, other people's mums have. So sometimes you can't even trust your mum. So yeah, it's women, pinch of salt, pinch of salt. I mean, I maintain we're in this bagwash because of women. First there was Lilith, she wouldn't fucking listen, so we got rid of her. Then there was Eve, and she didn't fucking listen either. And now we're in this shit. So the first two women in history, completely fucked us all over here. And we're in this bagwash because of them. So, I mean, lessons have been learned here. Lessons have been learned. I've learned the lessons. I've took heed. Let's hear a bit more of this.
And those texts were between teacher Julie Hudson-Roeder and one of the teenagers involved. Now, right now, a detective with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office is testifying. Prosecutors are playing a video from when Hudson-Roeder was first questioned. In the video, she told detectives she got to know one of the students because he would eat lunch along with his buddies in her classroom. She says he needed money, offered to babysit her daughter, and she took him up on that offer. Hudson-Roeder says the 16-year-old started getting more suggestive, but denies doing.
I want male babysitters. I don't want female. You know, everyone says, oh, I'd only trust my kids with a female. I'm like, no. Men are so nice. They're nice people. If you're nice to them, they're nice back.
Anything sexual with him. When questioned about the text messages, which are sexual in nature, Hudson-Roeder told detectives she was just being sarcastic. Now, Hudson-Roeder is accused of having sexual relations with two 16-year-old boys. Prosecutors could wrap up their case today. We are not sure at this point if Hudson-Roeder will take the stand. Reporting live downtown, Karen Johnson, WLW.
All right, let's see what's next.
Outrage and anger tonight after a former Tomball ISD teacher is sentenced to 60 days in jail and 10 years probation. Marco Bodine entered a guilty plea after having a 3-year relationship with a student.
Some feel the punishment was not harsh enough. KPR
never is. Male pedophiles go away for life. Female pedophiles, it's like, slap on the wrist.
C2's Bryce Newberry is joining us live at the Harris County Courthouse in downtown Houston with more on this. Bryce?
I actually think the student-teacher fantasy is more of a fantasy for women than men. I remember the show Pretty Little Liars when I was in high school, and there was a character on the show who was dating her teacher, and like everyone had a crush on the teacher. All the girls I know were like, "Oh, I wish I had a teacher like that." I don't think men. I mean, You know, it's crazy. I said that in the beginning of the reaction series. I don't think men fantasize as much about old hags as, we fantasize about the dominant teacher. Anyways, you let me know in the comments. Would you have banged any of your teachers if you got the chance?
And this sentence sparking outrage for several reasons. One of them, that this teacher who pled guilty to sexually abusing her middle school student still tonight is not here in jail.
It's really hard to wrap our minds around why someone would do such a thing, but evil exists in the world.
Last spring, when Jennifer Kratke's daughter was a student in 6th grade teacher Marka Bodine's class, police arrested the Tomball ISD teacher for sexual abuse of a child.
It's even now more upsetting to find out that she was given this ridiculously light sentence.
Bodine pled guilty Tuesday to aggravated sexual abuse of a child under 14. Court
Under 14. So yeah, again, she's right. Like, women don't get anywhere near the same sentence as men. It's kind of thought of in a different light. And again, I don't know why. I don't know if that's well. It's wrong that it is, because you're still a child. You know what I mean? But there is this kind of difference between sort of men and women. But even then, like, some of the lasses at school when I was fucking 14 and 15, they were. But there were slags, you know what I mean? At like 15, that was, you always had the one or two that were slags, you know what I mean? And we were having sex long before everyone else. Again, they were always getting pissed when they were like 14 or something, rough upbringings, whatever. It happens, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying they were sleeping with overage. Well, they probably were, to be honest. They were sleeping with like lads who were like 17 and 18, and you know what I mean? In the parks after drinking cider, etc. This was a very common thing. Like back in the day, there was always the early starters. Do you know what I mean? But even then, they weren't really the people who they were sleeping with weren't really thought of as paedophiles when it's only 1 or 2 years sort of older. That was kind of what went on. It's maybe not spoke about, but that's kind of what went on when I was young. Anyway, I don't know if it still does. But I'm not talking like everybody. It was just like there was always these 1 or 2 rough kind of lassies from rough estates who were always drinking early at 13, 14 in the parks. Do you know what I mean? So maybe I've only had one parent, and there was like that kind of crack. There was always them kind of people. So yeah, it's like, again, it's just a massively more for us. So if a male teacher had slept with that young girl who I was just talking about there, or one of them young girls who was sexually active at like 14, 15, obviously that teacher would have went down for years and years and years and been thought of as a beast and everything, you know what I mean? Yet women don't get the same treatment, really, you know what I mean?
Documents allege she befriended the 13-year-old student on an online video game and sexually assaulted him for 3 years. They texted, exchanged explicit photos and videos, and had sex in her classroom and car several times. Harris County District Judge Greg Glass handing down a sentence of 60 days in jail and 10 years probation, far shy of prosecutors' push for at least 20 years in prison.
There are certain types of cases that, in my opinion, really should only warrant punishment, and that is this kind of case.
Harris County prosecutor Jana Oswald is chief of the Crimes Against Children Division. She says the max sentence could have been life in prison.
I'm heartbroken for the complainant and his family. I am really disappointed in the outcome as a prosecutor, as a child abuse prosecutor, and I'm disappointed as a citizen of Harris County.
Parents like Kratke share that frustration.
I really have no idea how 60 days could be sufficient for such a crime, for such a young child.
Yeah, 60 days, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, really. It's on the sex offenders register for quite a while, but 60 days, a man in the reverse situation, I would imagine he would have got like 10 years, 15 years or something, you know what I mean? So it is like, again, there is this slightly different element to it, as I've mentioned in this. A young boy wants to have sex with like anyone at that age. You're a rat up a drain pipe in many ways. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're coming of age and you're male. So the young boys, and again, they often have sexual relationships with these teachers. It's not like a one-off affair. It's usually like a long-term relationship, years, in fact, sometimes. So it's kind of a different kettle of fish, but it isn't at the same time. It's still child abuse. It's still abusing your position. But women don't seem to get the sentence as many times here, like a couple of years, months, you know what I mean, and 60 days here. So, again, it's like the disparity in many ways between what's thought of as a woman paedophile and a man paedophile. And again, it seems to be a lot more prevalent, especially in this day and age, that women are doing this, not men, in America anyway. I see like the amount of cases of this that you see across all of America is really high, to be honest, really, really high. Because I often pay attention to them, because I think, like, you always look how attractive the teacher is, being a male, and like thinking, like, if you were a young lad and this teacher was coming on to you, what would you do? And like, it's kind of a different kettle of fish for lads. Again, this is why all these young males have had affairs with the teachers, and the teachers have been married and broke the home, because a young male's kind of sexually active, sort of. Once the fruit ripens, you're ready to go. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of the way of it when you come into puberty. So again, for many, the woman says it herself. For many young men, it's like a fantasy to sleep with a beautiful teacher. Do you know what I mean?
In a statement, Bodine's defense attorney,
13, that is disgusting.
tells KPRC2 in part, the court has the obligation to make findings of what is in the best interest of society as well as the victim in determining the sentence. And we believe the judge followed the law and handed down an appropriate punishment. Court documents show Bodine has until next June, almost an entire year, before she has to show up here to the jail to serve her sentence. That's because she has a young child at home.
All right. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that woman. I mean, we get just slap on the wrist for anything. That's why I say the solution to feminism is more feminism, because until women start getting punished by men, laws will not be more fair. You know, when men start putting women on alimony, then women will nag about the alimony laws. When women start having to work for a lifetime, that's when we'll start nagging to go back home.
Tori is no longer working with kids, but when she was a student teacher here at Lakota's Liberty Junior School, she became close and befriended an 8th grader. That's when prosecutors say the grooming began. From student teacher to...
Damn it, I could just hear the med. I could fix her.
Sex offender. 24-year-old Anna DeTore will now have to register as a Tier 2 sex offender for the next 25 years. DeTore had been a student teacher at Lakota's Liberty Junior School when she befriended a 14-year-old student.
This wasn't an older teenager. This was an 8th grade boy.
What the hell is wrong with these women?
Prosecutors say the grooming behavior started while she was teaching, and it turned sexual after she left the district. According to a police report, DeTore picked up the teen from his father's house in the middle of the night, drove to a Monroe Park, and had sex with him. DeTore previously pleaded guilty to unlawful sexual conduct with a...
This girl could have gotten a lot of guys off of Tinder. Why didn't you just go on Tinder and get your rocks off? Why must it be, you know, but...
Yeah, again, there's a lot of them are good-looking women. That's what I mean. Like, when you're a man, you hear these cracks. You kind of have a look at the teacher and think, oh, she's good-looking. You know what I mean? And when you were 15 or 16, you would have loved to give a hand. Is kind of the crack. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of how men think. So yeah, they're all good-looking women. And why didn't they go on Tinder? It's because it's kind of like she says. It's like, the more they shouldn't do something, the more they want to do it. Again, like, this is not to bring the Bible back into it, but like, think of Adam and Eve. Eve was told the one thing you must not do was eat from the tree of knowledge. Well, what did fucking Eve go and do? Do you know what I mean? So there you go. Like, absolutely, there you go. The first tale in all of history pretty much fucking tell you how this was going to go 90% of the time. And here we are. Of course, once women had been corrupted in many ways, which is, we live in a corrupt world now. The world's very much corrupted in every way, shape or form. and many women have fell down with it. And again, this is the proof of it. Don't get me wrong, there's good women out there, there's normal women out there, but a lot of women have fell down, and like this is kind of the proof of it in many ways. The amount of cases of this going on is proof of a bit of a moral decline in women, so to speak. Again, in the times that we're living in, the end times. So yeah, it's like again, most of them are good-looking women, and most men would see these women and think I'd give her one for a better choice for better words, but yeah, but they're all sleeping with kids and students, and again, it's kind of like the forbidden fruit of Eve. Do not do this, and that's what they do. So yeah, again, I see a bit of that. Do you know what I mean? I see a bit of that, and again, the Bible did tell us. The Bible did tell us that the women will not listen. They will not listen, and if you tell them not to do something, they'll probably fucking do it. So there you go. There you go. That's women all over, and it's written in Genesis in the Bible. It tells you. It tells you right there. So I'll leave it there, really. I just thought I'd give it a mention. Women paedophiles, not really mentioned as much as men paedophiles, don't get the same sentence, not frowned upon in the same way, but there is a slightly different element to it with men and women. Again, young men coming of sexual age, pretty much would shag anything, because you're like a rat up a drain pipe. And when a beautiful, attractive teacher, or older teacher, comes on to you as such, there isn't many probably young men who would turn them down, is the other side of it. So again, it isn't quite as bad because of the nature of young men at that age and becoming sexually active, but it's still abuse, it's still paedophilia, it's still abusing your position of power in our authority, in thing you're supposed to be looking after these people. Yeah, but it's just not treated in the same way, but there is a slight difference, even for me, as I've explained. So I'll leave it there, really. I just thought I'd give it a mention again, and this is like really prolific. The amount of cases of this across America, I mean, I don't know about England, but America, it's prolific, huh? So I just thought I'd give it a mention. I'll leave it there. Peace.